Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. We're starting our webinar, Inside Circle Interactive Trading Conversations. Thank you for finding time and attending and joining us. I can see some new faces, so special welcome to you guys. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a Senior Account Manager with AvaTrade, as I said. I've been involved with trading for over 24 years. I started as a prop trader in New York City on Wall Street, June of 2000. Since then, I've been involved in trading. It's something that it's hard to leave. It's a very exciting field, as you might know. Agenda of the webinar. We start with questions. We discuss and then we analyze things. We're going to take a look at the charts. Also, if I know any fundamentals, I'll be happy to share with you. Of course, it's all public information. I just follow up with a lot of markets, and I do market reviews for my team at AvaTrade. So I usually follow details and fundamentals for a lot of markets. Risk warning, you can find a full statement at avatrade.com. And of course, everything we do here is purely educational. We do not suggest any trades. Social media channels, please feel free to join us and follow us at Telegram, X, which used to be Twitter, and YouTube. As I always say, it's my favorite. You can find a lot of information there, including educational material, webinars, anything that would really help you understanding the markets better and use it as an educational material, tutorials for platforms and so on. Okay, so this is a second week that I tried a little bit of a new format. We do receive some questions from our customers. So I start the webinar with questions that we received, and then we move on. I would like for you to feel free and ask your questions about any specific markets. Usually we talk about whatever's tradable on AvaTrade platform. It could be specific shares of a company, it could be index, commodity, currency pair. Whatever you have a question about, we can discuss it. Okay, so let's start. Interesting, we received a question about interest rate decision. And as we know, the meeting of the Fed started today, and tomorrow they will announce their decision with the statement, and 30 minutes later, usually, it's a press conference. So the question here, interest rate decision, as central banks continue to announce potential rate adjustments, what impact do you anticipate on Forex markets, especially for currency pairs involving US dollar, euro, and GBP? Well, as we know, these are the major currencies. Of course, you can add to it Japanese yen, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar, but these three are the most traded. And if you take euro dollar, it's probably the pair that trades the most volume. So interesting question. As you probably witnessed today after the results, even before it was finalized, as Trump was clearly leading and winning. He announced his victory before it was confirmed. I guess he was very confident. So US dollar moved significantly higher. We're going to take a look at the chart at the moment. And of course, it brought the euro and the pound lower, as we're going to take a look. So tomorrow decision, as of now, it's almost closed deal that it's going to be another 0.25% interest rate cut. The last one, as you know, was 0.5%. Market reacted to it very positively. And today, again, the whole market, we take equity markets, we at the all-time highs on all of them pretty much. A strong move. Dow Jones was the strongest, about 12 or 13 100 points more higher. But sticking to the question, dollar is strong already. So if you take tomorrow's decision, let's take a quick look at the dollar index. Here we go. Take a look at dollar. It already retraced a little bit, but all this happened overnight. So it gapped, right? As the elections details start coming in. Then we gapped. We continue higher, second high, and after the third high, which ended up hitting, let's see, 105.33. As of now, we're slowly correcting here. But if you take a look at the daily chart, we did break above the level of July, as you could see here. Very strong move on the dollar. So as tomorrow results or announcements comes in, it could be that it's already priced in, but we didn't expect such a big move on the dollar, I think, due to the elections. It's very hard to say. Normally, let's imagine there was no elections and it was just the interest rate. Normally, logically, the cut in interest rate would mean the weakness for the dollar, as you know. Now, it could have been priced in, it could have been moved, but now it's a totally different game. We had a move to the upside due to the elections, the strength, and the positive hope for the U.S. economy, which would be positive for the dollar as well. So let's take a look at how the pairs did. Take a look. Of course, the euro dollar is just a mirror image of the dollar index, which just dropped below exactly the same level. In this case, we broke through the beginning of August. We almost touched the July level, June level actually, and then we retraced. Take a look. A correction came in after reaching the low of the day. This is the 30-minute chart. You see the two consecutive candles hitting the same level here, 106.82. And here's 106.82, same exact level, and then we start correcting from here. So this is euro dollar. If you see on the daily chart, we are below all the moving averages. Today we just broke through 200 moving average, as you could see here. So that's a euro dollar. And the pound, similar story here. We just broke, we hit 200 moving average, we bounced right off it. So we hit today the low of 128.33, and we start selling from yesterday's high. So the question is, how is it going to? Is it already priced in the current move? So now we have to deal with both the decision and the results of the election and the future expectations of people and so on. And of course, if you are watching tomorrow the results or the announcements from the Feds, it's very important, as you know, or if you're new to it, pay attention to the press conference that's happening 30 minutes after the announcement, because what's happening there, it's affecting the market in a very strong way. The volatility increases. So we might be witnessing that, probably will be witnessing that as well. So at least we know our range in all the instruments. So the low of today could be support, as you could see, we held right on the 200 moving average on the daily chart, 130.43. That's the level that we held, as you could see here. It was hit on mid of July. Then we just hit it recently, and yesterday and today we hit the resistance of that level, and that's on pound. And on euro, similar story. Today's low should be considered as immediate support, and today's high as immediate resistance. Let's see how market will react to the decision. Like I said, it looks like it's a closed deal that will cut 0.25%, but who knows? That's the beauty of the market. The expectation is not always met, so we could see anything happening. So that's as far as the first question. We move to a second question, which to do with the presidential elections. This is a very good broad question. With the upcoming U.S. elections, now it's already happened, so the question obviously came before. Election cycle, what sectors do you think might see the biggest movements And are there any particular assets worth tracking during this period? So we already passed the process, so we already know that President Trump will be president starting January. So there's a lot of things, and I was listening to some smart people on Wall Street today and during the elections before it was finalized. So there are a few things that I will be happy to share with you. So first of all, Tesla. Okay, as you know, actually, I just read now on the either Bloomberg or Wall Street Journal. I don't remember exactly. It's I guess it's official that Elon Musk invested $130 million into the campaign of Mr. Trump, or President Trump, we should call him. So everybody's talking about it, the Tesla. It's an amazing opportunity as Elon Musk. Actually, today, when Trump gave a speech, even like I said before, winning in his residence in Florida, he mentioned actually that mentioned a lot of positive things about Elon Musk, including during the hurricane in Florida or some other areas when he just called Elon Musk and he asked him to help with his internet connections. So people had no electricity, no internet, and it was done. So a lot of analysts are very positive about Tesla. And as you could see, the stock already reacted. It's up from closing the day before at 255. Currently, this is live quotes as of now, trading at almost 289. So that's obviously Tesla. Now, also what analysts are talking about, possible move down in oil prices as you heard any speeches of Trump that he's all about drilling, and getting more oil and dropping the prices. So as you could see here, oil actually reacted to the elections, but then it was a very strong recovery to the upside. Again, oil is a very tricky one because it's also being influenced in geopolitical situations, especially the war in the Middle East. So it's hard to say, but in the big picture, a lot of analysts are predicting oil prices going lower as American production of oil will be going higher. Also, banks reacted very positively to the results of the elections. Take a look. They're all gapped tremendously, all-time highs. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America. It's crazy. Take a look on a huge volume with just going through the roof. Citibank, all the banks are very, very strong. Now, of course, you might have heard today that Bitcoin just made all-time high, and that's another one being affected by Trump and his program. Right when he was speaking and promising things, he said that he said a lot of positive things about cryptocurrencies. And take a look today, a very strong move to the upside on Bitcoin. We hit today the high of 75,365, all-time highs. We're trading currently a little bit shy of 75,000. So that's another one. Now, some analysts are predicting not such a positive things for energy stocks, as Trump pretty much is all about oil, and I think that's what they're speaking about. Also, China and Chinese stocks reacted today to the downside, and The reason being, Trump, again, is a big program that he wants to start with. It's increasing tariffs, taxes with China. So initially, as you could see, the Chinese market reacted to the downside, and now it's slowly recovering here. So another thing, as you could see, as the dollar got stronger, and we but today we're definitely in the risk on, as huge percentage, some stocks actually up 10%, 13%, 20% today with the gaps. So as you could see, gold had not such a happy day with a huge drop after holding above 2,700. We're trading currently 2667. The question is this going to be continuing and turning the trend around, or is this a correction? As of now, we stopped right here on the 50-day moving average. So we'll see how gold will move there. So again, we have Tesla, we have gold, we have strength of a dollar. Because of that, we have potential oil production increased in the United States, which would be negatively affecting the price of oil. And another thing is worth mentioning, Trump is not a big fan of Facebook, and everybody's talking about. So out of all the stocks today, technology and everything else, Facebook didn't really do great. As you could see here, we flat on the day when everybody else is flying. And take a look. Initially, there was a gap down, and then we corrected. We closed the gap, and now we're sitting pretty much on the flat day on Facebook. So potentially, Facebook might have issue with President Trump being a president. So that's the situation. That's the current situation with the elections. Again, we still have time. He only starts being or taking position as a U.S. president in January. So we still have Democrats, the current administration, ruling. And it's kind of funny because who is ruling, right? We know that President Biden is not really, let's try to be soft, not really capable of doing things. And Kamala Harris is she was all focused on the elections and with the speeches, funny speeches. I have to add anyway. We're not going to judge. So that's as far as the elections. And again, we'll have more things coming out. We'll have more things to deal with. And it looks like also Republicans are going to be majority in the Senate. So President Trump will be having an easier job to getting things done and getting things approved and through. Okay, so I'm going to the third question, and I don't see any of you actually. I'm sure you're focusing on listening to what I have to say, and I appreciate it. But if you do have, and I'm sure you do have questions about specific markets, it would be great if you start typing them. And when I finish with this third question, we'll go into your specific individual questions. So please feel free to write your questions about specific instruments. Again, I see some people join us as I spoke. So you can write into the questions window specific questions on any asset that's tradable on AvaTrade, and we'll be discussing it. Okay, so let's move to a third question. In light of the recent discussion on inflation rates, how should traders approach commodities like gold and silver? Are these assets safer hedge in this environment? So it's kind of connected to the question that we mentioned before, and as you know, gold reacted today definitely as gold has, I always like to say, is wearing few hats. One is the inflation. So when the inflation is higher, the banks are purchasing gold, and of course the investors are putting money into gold, kind of offsetting or hedging themselves against the inflation. Also, the second title of of gold is safe haven. So when the markets are falling, when the equities are falling, there's a risk off time, and people are scared, and they're putting money into gold, feeling secure. So that's a second quality or title of gold, being safe haven. So as of now, if you take inflation, it's still the Feds are still kind of trying to bring it into the target 2%. So a lot of banks also loaded. I just saw a program on TV recently that Russia and China just quadrupled their uh, gold piles of gold, physical gold, and that's also the reason gold has been super strong. But the question is now: is the inflation holding? And I guess we'll find out in upcoming CPI numbers and everything else. The latest number we had, there was an uptick in inflation. So let's see if gold holds this level as we mentioned. Let's take a look at the chart really quick again. As I mentioned to you on gold, we just hit the 50-day moving average here. Where are you, gold? So let's see if we manage to hold here and continue higher, or maybe, as I said, we might be seeing the correction continuing. Now, also what we can do, we can kind of play with the trend line. Sometimes it gives us an idea. Take a look by connecting the latest lows today, which just broke through that trend line, right? So we might see continuation. And again, let's see how we're holding around here. So silver usually trades with gold. It's not a preferable inflation instrument. Gold is usually the one. So let's see now. And commodities, they didn't ask in the question, but I could also bring our attention to copper. Copper has been reacting weak today. Take a look. We had a lot of accumulation here, and I mentioned in some of my webinars actually that when you have a long accumulation in a tight range, it's ready to move one way or another. And take a look. We tried to break to the upside, we failed, and today, of course, probably a lot of it to do with China as well. So we had a huge move to the downside on copper. So we could also see copper as commodities. But the question was, again, let's take a quick look at the question about the inflation. So we should see, first of all, what inflation is doing. We should see what the market is doing, because it's kind of a fork on the road, right? Which way you go, right or left. So gold is also, sometimes it goes against inflation, and sometimes, as I mentioned, it's being safe haven. So if markets, which some analysts are predicting they will be running up into the end of the year. So if the market goes up, the equity markets, the individual stocks, the indices, so normally that would mean that the money will go into the risk on. People are greedy to make money quick and a lot. So if that happens, if the market continues higher, then the gold might suffer a little bit, at least for the time being. Okay, so these are the questions that were addressed, and here we go. Thank you for start typing. Now you can focus on writing your questions. You can type your questions right here in the questions window. And I have the first one from Jama. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. For the USD JPY, as Trump is the new president, what does it mean for it? Good question. Again, any currency pair, you just mentioned USD JPY, has two aspects, right? One is the USD, one is the JPY. So we can try to break it down. So as we said, the dollar is strong. So that pair potentially could go higher, and it did. Today was a strong move. And take a look. Again, on this side, if Trump is affecting the dollar side of the equation, right? So good economy, make America great again, a strong dollar, et cetera, et cetera. So that, as you could see, already playing the role here. Now, the question is, what's next? So technically speaking, you see the chart here, we hit this level from which we continue selling. The high is 155.21. We're about 80 pips away from that. So we could be reaching that level and testing it. And just to remind us that yen was super, super weak for a very long time. And here comes the fundamentals. As you know, after 17 years of not doing anything, not increasing the interest rate, the Japanese yen, the interest rate in Japan stayed in minus 0.01%. And just recently, they brought it to zero, and then they had another increase to 0.25 positive interest rate, right? So if you look at the monthly chart, it was a huge move. First of all, the first wave started here in 2021, and it stopped. The first stop was at October 2022, a little bit over 2 years ago. And then we had the correction of 2 months, and the second wave had stopped pretty much around the previous peak. Then we had the lower low, and then we shoot up until we actually made a new high at 161.94, almost 162, and that was the month of July. Then we had the 3 months of moving down. We had confirmed our support here, right? And then this is the second month higher. So first, as you could see, history repeats itself. The last month, we stopped right at the previous resistance, okay? And as of now, we are moving higher. And today's elections results, again, caused the US dollar to go higher, and it was a strong move. Again, what's next? Let's see what happens here now. So that's the dollar side of it and the technicals. Now, if you take Japan, they always have an issue, and it becomes political, and it looks like the current government is pro-interest rate hike. We already had, like I said, we had coming to zero and then to a positive 0.25. So last decision, I think, was last week or a week before, and they didn't change. They kept the rates at 0.25%. So the question is, are they going to continue increasing the interest rate? And if they are, we might see continuation of this pair going lower. And as you could see here, we have a strong support around 139, 140 right here. We had a wave of to the high here, and then we had a confirmation of that support. So let's see what happens. Again, it will be depending on what the Feds are doing. It will be depending on what the Bank of Japan is doing. Technically speaking, if you take a daily chart here, we might continue. Today's was a very strong day for dollar yen, weak for the yen, strong for dollar, of course. And the next checkpoint, if we are continuing higher, it's the high of July 30th, which was 155.21. Like I said, we're about 80 pips away from that. Good question, Jama. Thank you very much. Guys, we still have time. We have a few more minutes. If you do have questions, please type them quickly so we can go through it. I don't have any questions built up, but I think we touched a lot today, and still I am open. I'm here. I'm very happy to be answering your questions. So if you do have questions, please type it up. I'm going to give it maybe a few seconds to receive any questions. If not, we'll continue next time. So let's see if you have any questions, please type them up. Thank you. Okay, I don't see questions. Thank you for participating. I hope it was useful. Please don't forget about the social media. Follow us, subscribe. If you are watching this on YouTube, as this live webinar would be, recorded and posted on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe. Click on that bell to be notified. Share with people that you care about, and write your feedback and comments. We will be happy to hear from you. Thank you again. Have an amazing rest of the week and all the best. Take care.